Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I've had quite a few of you question how I clean my brushes. I do clean my brushes daily. I also deep clean them every single week. For daily cleaning, I use something like this, this is the e.l.f. Daily Brush Cleaner. I also have used Japanesque. I've also used Brush Bath by It Cosmetics. I've used quite a few different options. I do like Brush Bath. I love this. This is only like $2 and it lasts a long time. But today's video is about the deep cleaning of my brushes. I do fast forward you through a couple sections. I stop in the middle of washing some of my brushes. I'm pretty sure once you got the handle on it, you don't need to watch me wash every single one. And then I did use my brushes today, but this is the end result of those brushes getting cleaned. I don't know if you guys can see a difference. This one did get used today, and I did use the Daily Brush Cleaner on it. This one did not get used today, but it goes from a very not white tip to a very white tip. So again, this is my brush cleaning video for those of you who asked about how I clean my brushes. This is the deep cleaning version of how I clean my brushes. I hope that you guys learned something today. For those of you who are new, my name is Donna. For those of you who are not new here, welcome back. Thank you guys again so much for clicking on my channel. I know that you don't have to, so it warms my heart that you do. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope that you subscribe. I'd love to see the comments from you and what you do differently in your brush cleaning process. Maybe I can learn something from you. Thanks so much, guys, and enjoy the video. Alright, guys. Today we're going to do some brush cleaning because those brushes look awful. Don't mind my mixers there on the counter. They look pretty bad. So we're going to brush clean, sponge clean. This is the sink that we'll be using, and over here, some pizza boxes. But we have our brush holder when they're done getting cleaned, and a towel. I also have my brush shampoo, which is that Eco Tools brush shampoo right there. So let's just jump into this. Okay, to start off, you use lukewarm water, and I put that in the sink as well as my brush shampoo in the sink. So I will keep this on hand though, because if there's a particularly, hard brush to clean, I will use it for spotting. I also have this brush cleaner here, and I just got this at TJ Maxx, and it's just a scrub. There's our hair on there. That's gross. It's just a scrubber mat for the brushes, and I just kind of suction cup it to the cabinet here. So this brush here is pretty gross. That is my foundation brush. So I just dunk it in the water and use my little scrubber mat here to gently swirl around. And this one is going to be harder to clean. So I am going to put some of that soap just directly onto the brush. And you see it coming off on my hand here, the makeup. So some of your harder brushes, you'll actually have to use a little bit of force with them. But typically stuff comes off pretty easily. I know that it's clean when I do this, and that stuff doesn't come off on my hand anymore. Some of these brushes are stained. I've had them for quite some time. But when I'm done, I will just run some lukewarm water rinse off the brush. Make sure that it looks clean. Let's put some of this on there some more. It doesn't look 100% clean. You guys hear me over the water. It appears it is as clean as it's going to get. This would be the color of my foundation if it was not. So, I'll go ahead and rinse that off. When I'm done rinsing it, I just take it out. Then I take my towel, kind of fluff it out, and then I hang it upside down in my tool here. I like to find an appropriate sized brush holder for it because so it hangs upside down in the little tool here so that it dries without getting the glue and everything up there all saturated. Then I just do that for all the brushes. I do it in order of holes on my brush dryer, because if you fill in all these large holes first, it's really hard to get the skinnier stuff into the other holes. So you want to make sure you get all of the soap out. I have accidentally not done that a couple times, and then the brushes are really stiff and hard to manage because they've still got soap in them. So that's part of the reason why, once I'm done, I squeeze out all the water, but also kind of like do this so that I can feel if it's still got soap in it, and you can kind of hear it if it still has soap in it. But also by doing this, I am putting the brush back into its shape so that when I put it in its thing, it's going to dry that way. I'm going to get some of those middle spots. I'm sure you guys don't want to watch this whole process, so I might stop you for a second and then pick back up towards the end. I like the brushes with the colored tips or the white tips because you can always tell if they're really genuinely clean or not. Except for those ones that, like when I use foundation with a brush, that brush inevitably gets stained, so it never ends up the same color it was. My foundation brush in this stack is permanently flesh colored instead of white. Because my holder doesn't have enough holes for all of my brushes, I need to get a secondary one. I typically will put little brushes like this into the same hole and just kind of stack the brushes so that the fibers aren't touching each other. I don't think it would be a big deal if the hairs were touching each other, but I don't like them to touch each other when they're drying because it hurts the drying process. And I use every single one of my brushes over a week's time, and I just wash them once a week. So there's very few of my brushes that I don't wash or don't use in a week's time. As a matter of fact, the brushes that I don't use in a week's time, I typically will give it like 2 or 3 weeks, and then if I don't use those brushes, they come out of my holder. I told my man he needed to make me another holder. Currently, he's still working on my vanity. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause you right here, and I'll be back when I do my sponges. Okay guys, I'm done with my brushes except for my dual-ended and my sponges and my large powder brushes. So those guys I do singly, and what happens is I've obviously run out of room in my little brush caddy. My brush drying rack looks like this, and all the brushes are in it. They're hanging upside down, and there are quite a few that share holes, but that's okay as long as the brush doesn't get mangled. So what happens at that point is I just get a towel and I lean it up against the sink like this, and I set my brushes to dry like this so that they are pointing downwards and the water is not getting into the glue. I also do this with the dual-ended brushes that I have that I use. This is the only one that I have that I use regularly. Because there's not really any way to do it. I just make sure that I flip them quite often so that the glue doesn't get disrupted. This is part of the reason why I don't use dual-ended brushes, or why I don't like them at all. So with my sponges, I clean them differently than I clean my brushes. For one, I don't use this guy when I clean my sponges. I get them nice and wet like you would if you were going to use them. And then I just put the cleanser straight onto the sponge in the areas where it looks like there is makeup. And this is a newer sponge, so it should come clean. And then just continue to, massage the sponge and squeeze the water out. When I am done, it should appear as though it's never been touched. So there you go. Then what you just want to do is make sure that you're getting all the soap out of it. And there you go. Nice, clean sponge. So I'm going to do that with all my sponges. I'm going to clean the dish that the sponges sit in first. And sponges are a little easier. You don't really have to dry them a certain way. And I do wash the container that they typically sit in and dry it. Sorry again with the dishwasher and the water. Like it's not got enough to compete with. This sponge I'm going to go ahead and toss. It is just a really hard sponge. I don't like it at all. I don't use it. It's super hard and it doesn't expand. This sponge I got from Tarte a long time ago. I'm not even sure that I like it. But this sponge is super dirty. Oh look, it's pink. Alright, and that's what a clean sponge looks like. So that's all I have for you guys on my what I have for you guys on my brush cleaning extravaganza. I'm going to finish cleaning these guys, and then I'm going to let these dry, and then tomorrow I'll have nice clean brushes. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you love this video and learned something from it. If you have any brush cleaning techniques you do that are different or that you think I could learn from, please let me know. I always enjoy learning new things and getting that feedback in the comments. I will see you next time in my next video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Bye-bye, guys.